Almost 2 years ago in March 2020, at that time I had, what would it be, 2 and 3-year-old boys. And we had our kids enrolled in swimming lessons. And I'm an absolute advocate for kids getting swimming lessons when they're young, because I had a cousin who grew up who didn't learn how to swim. What's up, Mark? If you're watching. And I see to this day how that's impacted him. And I know he'd say it too. We go out on kayaks and stuff and out at the lake, and he has a life jacket on because if he falls in the lake, he can't swim. He's in his 30s. And I think Mark would agree that, like, if he could rewind the clock, he'd learn how to freaking swim when he was a kid. So naturally, I want my kids to get swimming lessons. Well, they got shut down in April 2020. They were supposed to be in swimming lessons April 2020. They got shut down for everybody. They just shut it down. They locked down everything. Businesses closed, everything closed. Oh, with the exception of the fast food restaurants, which is the other farce in all of this stuff, where the gyms got to close, but the fast food joints can stay open. And the big chains, the Costco's and the Walmarts and stuff. Anyways, I digress. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole as well. But anyway, so my kids couldn't go to that, okay? Fast forward to early 2021. I think it was around March or April or something like that. We enrolled the kids into soccer, indoor soccer. And it was probably like in the spring because it was still kind of chilly out. And this was after some things had transpired. The government here had decided that, like, okay, we're open up, even if you're not vaccinated, which that wasn't even part of the conversation back then. I think it was then, maybe it was more in the spring, in the fall. I can't remember exactly, but we enrolled our kids in soccer because, again, they've never been enrolled in a group activity as toddlers. The only interaction they've had with other kids is with our neighbors' kids and at a Strong Start program when we are able to go, when that's not shut down. We went to the first soccer practice, and me and Shar, my wife, went to the practice. And it was so fun. Like, it was so amazing to watch them just be around other kids. And like, anybody who has kids or have seen that kind of interaction before, you know that it's literally just like a bunch of tadpoles, right? They throw some soccer balls out and they run around and they don't listen to anybody and they roll around on the ground and they leave and they're so freaking happy. And it was amazing to be a part of that as a dad, because I hadn't got to experience that yet. I hadn't been able to take my kids to a lesson and watch them be coached and mentored by somebody. And then to be there by their side and have them look over and wave at me. Like all the things that you get satisfaction from, gratification from as a father. Part of the reason why I had kids. Yes, it was self-serving. I wanted something to love me so much so that I could love myself more. There, I said it out loud. But that's the truth, right? The second class, we get a notification from our government saying that I'm not allowed in the building. I can't take my kids to a domed soccer field because I'm a health risk, because I chose not to get a vaccine. I'm 45 years old. I don't have any comorbidities. I don't have heart conditions. I don't have any issues with my breathing. I've taken good care of myself over the years. I'm not a detriment and a drain to my healthcare system. I take care of myself. And therefore, when I chose not to get the vaccine, I basically said, I'm willing to take the risk that if I do get this COVID or whatever it is, that I'll get through it. And yeah, it might hurt. And yeah, it might be painful. And yeah, I might lose my taste and my smell and whatever else, whatever all the symptoms and stuff are. But I got shut out of taking my kids to soccer practice. And to me, that's as much of a pandemic and a tragedy as the actual pandemic itself. And now I know I had a conversation the other day with my mom, and she said, you should be sensitive because other people don't feel the way that you do about COVID. And when you say that, like, oh, it's not that bad, other people have lost people. Let me be clear. I'm not undermining the fact that this disease, this virus has created a lot of death. It has. It has. And I feel very blessed that I have not lost anybody in my immediate family, anybody really, really, really close to me. I know people that have, but I've never lost anybody. So I feel very blessed for that. And I'm not discrediting it. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I know it exists, but I am being real about the fact that the stats that we're being told, not just by our government, but by governments all over the world, are skewed. They're not the whole story, including the byproduct of what my kids, who have now, since that pandemic was hit, my kids were almost 2 and just turned 3. They've never known a world where they're out in public and they see people that have masks on all the time. And they wore masks early on. And then we stopped with that crazy bullshit. Because they're kids, for God's sake. They have good immune systems. The data showed us that this was not devastating to kids. So we stopped. And anyways, I couldn't take them to soccer practice. Now, let's fast forward to today. So early on in this year, at the end of last year, in November, we visited the pool. We went down to our local pool. It was still snow on the ground, but I thought, I'm just going to walk in and ask them, what's the plan here for the spring? Is there any lessons coming up? And she said, yep, it's you got to register by December 16th. And I said, do I have to be vaccinated to come in the building? She's like, no, absolutely not. Just make sure you get online and register, because it's like getting freaking concert tickets trying to get kids into swimming lessons. So I did that. I got up at 6 a.m. I checked the thing. I didn't get them in. I got put on a wait list. I got a call 2 days ago. 2 days ago, that call was, hey, we just added an extra set of swimming lessons. Your kids are at the top of the wait list. And if you want them to be in it, just let us know. You just need to make the payment. And I was like, amazing. Yes, absolutely. Of course we do. It's been 2 years, remember, since these kids were originally enrolled in something, and then that shitty experience with the soccer. I thought I better ask, because maybe things have changed again. Can I go into the facility as an unvaccinated parent? And the answer was no. I'm not allowed to bring my kids to swimming lessons. My truth is that this pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. And this is the anger side of me that I said may come out. And I know that not everybody's going to agree with me. And I know that everybody's going to have their own opinions of, yeah, but you know what? We're doing it for the best of society, the weak, the compromised, the immunocompromised, the elderly. We need to do our part. That's what they keep saying. We need to do our part. But what about my inability to be a parent, to have my kids be able to look over when they dunk their heads in the water for the first time, and they're so freaking proud that they just want to look up and look for dad, and I'm not there? Now what? Because we kind of hear on the sidelines about the effect of absentee parents, right? You hear this in the news every once in a while, right? What is the impact of single parent homes? What happens when the dad's not present in the child's upbringing? Now, I'm not saying that I've disappeared. Of course I haven't disappeared. I could still drop them off, be waiting outside, pick them up, and still have 23 and a half hours in the day. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying on a micro level is that this is what this is doing. This is what these mandates are doing and how it's impacting me. This is my story. It's not the only story. I fully understand that. But quite frankly, I'm frustrated. And I think that we're being told a lot of lies. I believe that the truth is not something that the media wants you to see. I do believe in the fact that money dictates most decisions regarding all of this stuff. In fact, I was sitting at Danielle's place yesterday watching the school board trustees meeting. I guess these happen frequently, like they're on a regular schedule. But I was watching this meeting, And I was thinking to myself, because the public's allowed to come to them, and there was 8 people that asked questions about mandates. Are you going to mandate it for the teachers? Do you believe it's right that you should tell them what they should do? Is it not their independent choice on whether or not they put something into their bodies and whether or not they even disclose it? Have they considered the mental health conditions of the children that are in there, the teenagers, right? The ones that are being blocked with like panels of plastic and not allowed to talk to each other and only allowed to eat or take their masks off when they're eating. And like, we thought about that and what that's creating. I'm just trying to open the conversation to say, hey, if you are on the side 2 years into this that says we need to just keep doing our part, we need to keep wearing these masks, we need to shut down these things, we need to put these mandates in, we got to make sure that Trevor can't get into the pool, we got to make sure that Trevor, because he's not vaccinated, can't get on an airplane and go anywhere in this world. If you are of that belief, we are not aligned. And I'm done not saying something about it. And I realize that this is going to be polarizing. There's going to be people that will be like, fucking A rights, speak your mind. And there's going to be people that'll be like, you're a selfish asshole for even saying that stuff out loud. Do you know how many people have died from this? I get it. And everything in between. And not all of my future podcasts are going to be like this, but I created this podcast to speak about the truth, knowing that I don't know everything. I don't know all the truth. The guests that I bring on don't know all the truth. But the only way we get to the truth is by having conversations, being open-minded to possibility, not being scared and fearful and throwing on masks and being and not wanting to get close to people and eliminating hugs from our society and not smiling at each other. Come on. Can we not see what this is actually doing to our society, to our kids, to my kids? Can we not see it? Even the most pro-vaccine people on this planet, can you not see what this is doing to my kids? This is a concerned parent starting to speak my truth.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch the full unedited episode, go ahead and click over here. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. Thanks so much.